Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Pete Guitar Martin, and we're giving some guitar basics in a number of different videos. This is what's really cool. Is that how many of you have said, "Gee, wouldn't it be nice if I instantly knew every note on the guitar?" Well, we're going to give you the foundation for the beginning of learning that today. It's really pretty simple. What we're going to learn is the names of the strings, the notes that sound when we play the strings open. That means no fingers down. So that's the first thing. The next thing, just a few things you need to know. Names of the strings that I just said, and the musical alphabet. And the first thing you need to know about the musical alphabet is the letter that follows G is A. So we say our alphabet like normal, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but after G we say A. It's not the beginning or ending of anything, but just the next letter after G is A. So that's simple. Then we need to know what flats and sharps are. Once we know that, we can then name every note on the guitar. We can figure it out at least. And then we'll start with give you some key points and the concept of the octave, and pretty soon you will just start to know the key names on the guitar, and eventually you'll be able to instantly name any note on any string on any fret. So let's begin. The first string is the string that's closest to the ground. Strings are numbered from the ground up, like floors on a building. So this first string is E. There's another string also named E, the sixth string, E. So people can use systems, algorithms, if you will, or to figure out the names of the strings. But I look at it this way. I don't want to have to go through a 5-step process to figure out what a string is named. You know, am I going from the low string to the high string, or the high string to the low string? That's one decision in an algorithm to figure out the string names. And then I have to remember what it says, and then I have to count through the strings, and then I have to remember the letter that the word begins with, because some, people use this term like, say, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. EADGBE. But then, again, you have to remember, okay, well, what was the algorithm? What was the acronym? Oh, shoot, now I can't remember the name of it, but what was the name of this thing? So then you got to remember that. Then you have to remember the saying, okay? Then you have to remember the order. Then you have to work through and say it. And then you have to get to what's the letter. That's at least a 4-step process just to get to a note name. If you were being introduced to 6 people and 2 of them had the same names, and you were said, I want you to memorize their name, most of you could probably do it the first try or come pretty close. But so that's how we're going to do it. We're just going to flat out memorize these names by rote. The first string is E. The sixth string is also E. All right? And then the second string is B. So first string E, sixth string E, first string B. We already know half the string names. Fifth string is A. All right? A, arts and entertainment. A, E. Fifth string A, sixth string E, first string E, second string B. Now we know 2/3 of the guitar string names. The note that sounds when we play the G string open is G. G is the third string. The third string is the G string. The fourth string is the D string. Gosh darn, the 2 strings in the middle. What's the middle string? There is no middle string. There are 2 middle strings though, gosh darn it. G and D. So now we have first string E, second string B, third string G, fourth string D, fifth string A, sixth string E. And then we're going to learn, and there's an exercise I'll teach you in in some of the online courses for holding the pick and whatnot, and I have you do this exercise. E, A, D, G, B, E, E, B, G, D, A, E. So we sing and say the string names. So we do different exercises. E, A, E, D, D, E, G, E, B, E, 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 B, E, G, E, D, E, A, E, E. All right, so that E's right at the peak of my full voice on my vocal, so it squeaks out a little bit. I think I sang the wrong pitch a few times too. But anyway, so that's how you memorize the string names. And you just, every time you play it, you say it, you know, E, 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 D, 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 A, 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 E, E, G, 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 B, B, B. We want to flat out know these string names. We don't have to work through an algorithm to get to the note name. So memorize them, you know, that's it. Memorize them, get them now. All right, do it now. So now when we know the string names, next thing, we already know the letter that follows G is A. All right? One thing I left out in the intro is you need to know that if you're on there's two special notes, B and E. On the guitar, we're lucky we got to get a little cheat sheet because the first two strings are B and E. Look here. B, B, E. Can you tell it's first thing in the morning, folks? All right, anyway, my voice is not warmed up. E, B. All right, so first string E, second string B. B, E are to be or not to be E. There are two special notes in music, B and E, and they're special in the musical note naming system because if you start on a B, the very next note, the next highest note is E. If you start on a C, the very next note is, if you start on B, the very next note is C. So if I start on B, next note's C. Start on E, next note's F. So, I might have misspoke there a second ago. But anyway, if I start on E, which is my open first string, and I go one fret higher, I go from fret 0, which is the nut, to the first fret, there, I just went from E to F, and I only moved one fret. So if I need to go from any note to the next note, as long as I'm not starting on a B or an E, then I have to go 2 frets to get to the next letter. So again, what we didn't talk about were the directions of up and down the neck. I'm going to turn us to the side a little bit. All right, so when we talk about up, down, low, high, except in terms of strumming or pick direction, whenever we're talking about up or down, high or low on the guitar, we are talking about a change in pitch. So when I talk about going up the neck, I mean, which direction do I go to get higher? Well, if I go this way, I'm shortening the length of the string and the note gets higher. So that is up the neck, and that is down the neck. That weighs 1 fret higher, and that weighs 1 fret lower. All right? 1 fret higher, 1 fret lower. So we have these two terms to talk about that. Any of you like math or science are maybe familiar with the term vector, V-E-C-T-O-R. A vector is a change in magnitude or amount that has a direction associated with it. You need those two things for it to be a vector. A flat and sharp, they're simply vectors. Sharp means they both have the same magnitude, the change of 1 fret. So it's an interval or a change in pitch that's accomplished by going from 1 fret to the next. If I go 1 fret higher, the direction of higher means sharp. So sharp simply means don't play this note, play a note 1 fret higher. So if I'm playing an A here on the 5th fret, because I went from E 1 fret higher to F, 2 frets higher to G, the letter that follows G is A, so 2 frets higher to the next letter brings us to A on the 5th fret. So now I'm at the 5th fret, and if I play an A, but I say, okay, A sharp, that means play the note higher than A. If I go from A to B, it will give me, and I can give the direction to that same location or pitch by saying B flat. You might be tempted to say they're the same notes. Technically, they're not the same notes. They're two different notes. They have different note names. They're played differently on the musical staff. So those two different note names, they're two different directions of the same pitch. You play it the same way. It sounds the same way. Vibrates the same cycles per second, and that's what we call frequency. They have the same frequency. They sound the same, but they're technically two different notes, again, because they're written differently on the musical staff. An A is written on the second space from the bottom of a treble clef staff, and a B is written on the middle line of a treble clef staff. See what I mean by different notes on the staff? If I say B flat or A sharp, it tells me to play it the same way. Those are called enharmonic tones whenever we have two different tones or note names that describe the same pitch. They're called enharmonic tones. That's spelled with an E, E-N-H-R-M-O-N-I-C. All right, so anyway, but knowing that that sharp means 1 fret higher than the note I just said, the letter name note I just said, and flat means 1 fret lower. Now I have all the information I need. I know my string names. I know my musical alphabet and that G follows A. I know that when I'm playing a B or an E, the very next highest fret and pitch is the next letter in the alphabet. I know if I start on any other pitch in the alphabet, including F and C, by the way, I have to go 2 frets, or what we call a whole step, because a change in 1 fret's a half step. It's another name for that interval. Change in 2 frets is a whole step. So if I start on any note other than B or E, including C and F, I have to go 2 frets higher to get to the next letter. Then I describe the note in between using either sharp or flat. By the way, sharps, flats, and naturals are called accidentals. So a natural cancels the effect of a flat or sharp, or clarifies that a note is neither flat or sharp. So if I say play E natural, then I simply am saying just play E, don't play E sharp or E flat. And you're like, wait a minute, I thought you said the note higher than E is F. Well, yeah, but I can still describe it location. It's another enharmonic tone. I can have and say, play E sharp. This is E, that's E sharp. Its enharmonic tone is F natural. Okay? Flats, sharps, naturals together are called accidentals. They're not really an accident, but they're a planned variation from the key signature that is of a key on a written piece of music. Anyway, so we now have all we need, because we start, if I play on the E string open, I'm playing the note E. So now I'm playing the note E on the first string open, and then I want to play a fret higher than E,